Today on iTnews, we're talking to George Gerchow as the Chief Cloud Executive for VMware. How are you doing, George?
Great, Brett. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. George, you've just told me a few moments ago that VMware culturally has accepted that some applications will never move from the physical to the virtual world. Can you tell me a little bit about this change within the thinking at VMware?
Well, I think what's happening is VMware, obviously being the leader of IT as a service, they're starting to recognize the fact that public clouds, private clouds, hybrid clouds are going to be heterogeneous. There's just going to be a physical component to it. If you think of mainframe environments and mission critical applications, a lot of those are going to have to exist on physical machines. So what we're starting to do is provide a management portal for both, via compliance and security as well too, for our customers out there.
Now, I understand you've made some acquisitions to ensure that you have management tools that work across both the physical and virtual worlds. Can you tell me about some of the companies and the tools you've acquired and how they'll integrate into VMware's toolset?
Sure, absolutely. So going through the four products, the first one is Virtual Service Manager, which is a service desk, competes with like Remedy, HP, CA Unicenter. The second one is Virtual Configuration Manager. This was the ConfigureSoft product, and that competes with like Blade Logic, Opsware, and products like that. And then Application Discovery Manager was another one, and also as well as ASM, or Application Stack Manager. That's been integrated into Virtual Configuration Manager, not to confuse things, but those two products just made sense living together. Now with that being said, those products have always supported a virtual and physical type infrastructure, but the main point of it is tracking and managing change as well as business processes as companies start moving things from a physical to virtual environment, as far as securing them as well too in their own state. So if it's a physical machine, is it compliant, is it secure, does it have the appropriate guidelines around it, whether they be PCI or SOX, and then managing those all through one portal.
When you've been talking to Australian customers this week, what are their security and compliance concerns and how do these tools alleviate that?
Great question. So we're starting to see PCI starting to hit Australia. You know, obviously a little bit more on the finance side, and some companies are adopting it more as guidelines because it's very prescriptive, especially with 2.0 coming out. But that's been a big driver for them, is having that content and really driving that cost side of audit, especially in a virtual infrastructure as well too. And they want to be able to virtualize more machines so they know if they can start locking down that environment, it'll help out. The other thing is closed loop change management, or having visibility into planned versus actual change and holding people accountable to making change out of band, which usually causes loss of service. And it's not malicious, Brett. As you know, as an admin, I just want to make the change, but a lot of times I don't realize how that's going to impact the business, whether it's virtual or physical, once again.
Now, you're mentioning as well that VMware or the companies you've acquired perhaps have come up with a lot of templates so that you can basically check a box and say, I'd like this virtual machine or perhaps this physical machine to be compliant with set standard. How many of those standards are relevant for Australian customers, and can you tell me a little bit about how that works?
Sure, so I think the PCI ones definitely are, as well as ISO 27001 is another one that gained traction. So the way it works is there's about 15 to 20,000 rules out of the box. We put those into reports or templates, as you mentioned, and then run those against machines for compliance checks. After we see non-compliant results, you can either remediate immediately, or the cool part is I can start remediating automatically once I get comfortable with the data that comes back. One of the other things that we've seen out here as well too is ARPA, which is a different type of compliance set out here, a mixture of kind of SOX that's not as prescriptive, along with PCI, which is very new to us being from Australia, but a lot of our rules coming from NIST and DISA handle that environment as well too.
Great, George, thanks a lot for your time.
Hey, thanks, Brett, really appreciate it. Good to meet you.